What is good, people? We're back with another video, and today we're talking about the chakras. Let's jump straight into this because I know there's been a lot of requests for this video. So let's jump straight into this. So you have 7 chakras, right? 7 chakras, and these chakras are feeding off your electromagnetic field, known as your aura. This is both positive and a negative pole, male and female, right? This electromagnetic field is made out of electric and magnetism, and together they come as electromagnetic. Now, your chakras, the word chakra just means wheel, spinning wheel, because that's what they are. They are spinning wheels of energy. They do not exist on this physical plane. They exist on the etheric plane. Okay. Now, these energy centers are known to regulate your emotions, and each energy center controls the organs and cells in that particular area of the body. So, for example, your sacral chakra will control the cells and organs of your sexual reproduction area. Okay, the navel chakra or solar plexus will control the digestion in your body. Same with the heart, same with the throat, right? So they are like mini brains for each center of your body. They run along up the spine, but notice the crown chakra exists outside the body. It's just above the head. Now, this process of the chakras is obviously the 7 colors of the rainbow, starting from red, which is the lowest vibrational color, all the way to violet, which is the highest vibrational color. This, like I said, these energy centers are feeding off your electromagnetic field. So if these chakras are unbalanced, they are taking too much energy from your electromagnetic field, making it weaker. Now, this is the North Pole. As you all know, the Earth is flat, and we live inside of a giant torus field, and the North Pole is the Earth's heart chakra. And this is why the aurora borealis, or the northern lights, whatever you want to call them, that's why they are green, and they are being emitted from the center point of the Earth, because it's symbolizing the heart chakra, which is green, right? Now, you do work your way up to these. However, this is a torus field. You are a torus field. You have different layers of this torus field, right? And you need to balance all of these chakras, but you can't move up these chakras until you open the one below it. So it's like a stairway. You can't go to your solar plexus without going through your sacral. You see? So you have to work up these. However, you have to work up these and then live from the heart, because the heart is the center of the torus field. It's the balance between male and female poles, positive and negative poles. So you have to balance all of these chakras and then bring them all into one, which is the heart chakra. Now, they exist on the etheric plane. They exist on the etheric plane, and the etheric plane is a layer of the material plane. It's the one higher than the material plane. And then after the etheric plane, it melts into the astral plane. So they exist just between the physical and the astral aspect. Now, this is the yin and yang matter, which is the lowest root chakra, physical matter, and then to spirit, because high vibrational matter turns into spirit, low vibrational spirit turns into matter. So they're interchangeable. This is the yin and yang. Now, when you see ancient paintings with the halos, you see this is like a toroidal field coming out the top of his head, you see, with a halo. This was symbolizing in the old days, in the ancient days, that they've aligned their chakra, they've reached Christ consciousness, which is God consciousness, right? Now, this electromagnetic field is the the apple that we bit out of in the Bible. Because you see, the apple is a torus field. So they were metaphorically or personifying the torus field. That's what the Bible is. It's a massive personification. It's all metaphors. You have to read it properly. It's got a greater meaning behind it. Now, when we bit from the apple, we ate from the tree of knowledge, which is good and evil. Our lower mind took over, so we materialized to feed our physical bodies. We materialized through Saturn. That's what Saturn does. Now, if you don't understand that, go and watch the video previous to this one called Occult Secrets of Saturn. And that will show you how Saturn is the materializer. Now, this is one of the secrets behind the Masonic compass, electric and magnetic, male and female, duality, positive and negative. Now, like I said, they teach you about the torus field, about a magnet in school, but they don't teach you about your electromagnetic field. Everything alive has a torus field. It is the building block of this creation. Absolutely everything has a torus field. There's not one thing without it. And as you can see here at the center of the apple, that's where the seed is. That's where the life is. The reproduction of that organism. As you see, this is where the most electromagnetic energy is stored, in the center, because this is where the two duality, this is where the field meets at the very center. This is why the seed is at the very center. Now, your spine is a elongation of the brain. The brain is heaven, and the bottom of the spine is hell. So this is Saturn, which is the root chakra. The 7 planets are associated with each chakra. Moon equals mind. Okay. Now Saturn is physical matter, as I've just explained. This is the lowest vibrational color. And they want you trapped down here, which is your hell state, your animal nature, your physical nature. They want you to identify as the physical body. They don't want you to reach these higher states of consciousness. Okay? Now, in the brain, you have 12 convolutions. Now, this is what they were symbolizing in the Bible with the 12 disciples. And obviously in the Bible, it says the upper room where Jesus met with his disciples. This is heaven, the brain, the higher states of consciousness. Now, this is your North Pole. This is Jacob's ladder. Okay. This is why you have 33 levels of Freemasonry, because it's symbolizing the 33 vertebrae, which are these little things here on the back of your spine. Because once the Kundalini energy from the bottom of your spine rises to the top, this is when you get enlightenment and opens your third eye. Spiritual enlightenment. As you can see here, this is Jacob's ladder. This is the Kundalini symbol, right? And they're even showing you this in the medical symbol. They're putting it in your face. But the serpents are wrapped around the spine. Now, the serpents symbolize how the energy moves around the spine, because it's a torus field, you see? At the center of the torus field, it wraps around the center pole. It wraps around it, and this is how the energy moves up. So they're symbolizing it with the serpents. Okay? Now, every religion has a sacred river. For the Egyptians, it's the River Nile. For Christianity, it's the Jordan River, right? This river is the canal, the energy canal at the center of your spine, all the way leading to heaven, to the Holy Land. This is the chamber which the energy rises up, right? Now, they used to say the gods descended from heaven to man. This is just heaven. This is the mind state. And they said the gods were connected by a rainbow bridge. That's the chakra system, the rainbow bridge. Okay. Now, the ancients called this place Midgard, Earth, where both evil and good live, right? Midgard. But you can go to heaven, which is a pure mind state, because once you're in heaven, nothing negative can ever bother you. That's completeness. pure Christ consciousness. Now, this is why Jesus dies at 33. He didn't actually die, but it's symbolizing the death of the physical body. Not the death of the physical body, but his consciousness rising above the physical body to, as I said here, matter to spirit. Matter died off and he came spirit consciousness. This is symbolized by the 33 vertebrae, which is obviously the 33 levels of Freemasonry. And now the pineal gland, which is at the very top of this Jacob's ladder or the River Jordan, the canal, your 33 vertebrae on your spine. This is where the pineal gland sits, right? At the very top, at the center of your brain. Now, there's multiple ways this was symbolized. The Eye of Ra, which is used by the Egyptians. Now, this pineal gland is the seat of consciousness. This is where your consciousness is stored, right? And the ancient Sumerians used the pine cone, hence why it's got the word pineal gland, the seat of the soul consciousness. It produces DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is known as the spirit molecule. And the pineal gland is wrapped in microcrystals, and we all know crystals transfer frequency and energy. Now, radios use crystals. A radio is a frequency transmitter, turning a frequency into a frequency that we can hear with our ears, right? Because all the radios are actually playing right now in your ears. However, our ears can't pick it up, so the radio transmits it into a frequency that we can hear using crystals. So this is the power of crystals, and this is what our third eye is wrapped in, crystals. Now, this third eye is not actually your third eye, it's your first eye. When you're being materialized in your mother's womb, this is the first gland that is produced, and everything's built around it, because it is the consciousness. It is your consciousness. Your consciousness never dies, ever. It's an eternal essence. It lives forever. You never actually die. Only the mortal body dies. Now that's what we call life. Life is abided by time, and time is change. And change is what we call life, because everything's constantly moving and transforming into different things, right? Now let's not get off track. The pine cone is obviously, this is in the Vatican here. The pine cone is symbolized as the pineal gland, pine. And this is the opened pine cone. The opened pine cone means, or symbolizes, the awakened man, the awakened third eye. But the ones here, which the Sumerian gods are holding, these are shut pine cones, symbolizing the unawakened man. But let's not get confused, people. These gods were not gods. They are human beings just like you. They reached Christ consciousness. They are nothing more special than you. They just had the ability to reach Christ consciousness. And obviously their knowledge was far more intelligent than ours, far more advanced than ours. They knew the truth about this reality to the depths. Now, the ancient Hindus had a goddess called Kundalini, which is said that she descended by the means of a ladder or a cord from heaven, which is symbolizing the spinal cord. Now, this is what hickory hickory dock, the mouse went up the clock and came back down. This is all these stories, like Santa as well. Santa comes up and then down the chimney. This is symbolizing the Christ oil. There's an oil which is produced in your pineal gland, right? And this oil travels down the spine. And once it's down on the spine, you must have to raise your consciousness, just like I said, but the chakras, you have to raise your consciousness, raise your vibration to heat up this oil and turn it into a gas. And it travels back up the spine through like the serpents up the spine, And this awakens the third eye once it's coming back up the spine and hits the pineal gland. This is the secret behind Santa and Hickory Hickory Dock, because Santa comes down and feeds the presents and goes back up the chimney. And he lives in the North Pole, the positive pole. This is the North Pole, people, and the presence is your sacred oil. This oil, your physical body, is the furnace. It's the spiritual furnace, which you have to heat up this oil by raising your frequency and turning it into a gas to rise up this chamber, the River Jordan, to your third eye, right? Now, this is an alchemical process. Your body is the alchemical furnace. It says in the Bible, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. I shouldn't have cut that out, but that's what it says. The light of the body is thine eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy eye shall be filled, their body shall be filled with light. This is symbolizing the pineal gland, enlightening the body, the spiritual body, filled with light. Now, as I said, they want you kept down here, which is the root chakra, which is your animal nature, which is obviously mind, matter over mind. This is the symbol of Saturn, right? As you say, we're built of body, mind, and spirit, the Holy Trinity. That is the sun, moon, and earth. The sun's your soul, solar. Moon is your mind. Earth, which is the cross, which is your physical body, the 5 elements, right? So body, mind, and spirit. So the Saturn symbol is actually made out of the cross on top, which is the earth, and the moon on the bottom, which is symbolizing matter over mind, because earth is physical matter. You don't want to be matter over mind. You need to be mind over matter. See, they want you identifying as your physical body. They don't want you to realize you're an eternal consciousness. You're an eternal essence of consciousness which never dies. They want you trapped in your animal nature. And this is why the Baphomet has a goat head, because it's symbolizing your animal nature, which is evil. Not evil, but you're more likely to do evil things, right? Which brings bad karma. That's your animal side. This is why the Baphomet has an animal goat head. As you can see here, he's got the Kundalini energy here. So when you see the inverted cross, the cross is your body, as you can see here. The inverted cross means your chakras downwards, down here. Your head's down here. Your mind is down here. But your mind needs to be up here, which is the upwards cross, which is Christ consciousness. And as we all know, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 planets, 7 chakras. Red light is low frequency and long range. This is why Saturn is the slowest moving celestial body. And it's the lowest chakra, because it's low frequency, long range. The moon being the crown chakra, which is high frequency. This is why the moon moves around the quickest. The moon is your crown chakra, which moon in mind. See, so there are multiple ways of your chakras becoming blocked. Now, each chakra has a specific intelligence. It has a specific thing that it's doing for the body, right? Now, this can be overused. It can be abused. For example, masturbation. That keeps you down here in your sacral chakra, because you're abusing the energy center. You're abusing your sexual energy, which is then becoming unbalanced. So this is how energy, this is why these centers are pulling more energy out your electromagnetic field, because these centers are wheels. The chakras just mean spinning wheel of energy. So when you're abusing these certain centers, you're pulling energy out of your electromagnetic field, which is making your field weaker, which is making your frequency lower, which makes you prone to diseases, prone to lower negative energy, right? So you need to align these chakras. You need to unbalance them. And as you can see here, you can screenshot these to see how they're blocked. I'm not going to go over each one because it'll take me forever, but have a little read yourself. This is why they're blocked. Now, the ancients used to say Aum when they meditated. Now, these are the 7 vowels, There's not 5 hours, there's actually 7. Now, when they say Aum, they're aligning all their chakras by saying this when meditating. This is where the Aum originated from. Now, emotion is energy in motion. So if you're feeling a certain way, that's the energy you've put in motion. It's a reflection. We live in a mirror reality. Everything's mirrored. Everything's mirrored. As within, so without, as above, so below. Everything's a reflection of some sort. So whatever you're feeling, you're doing something wrong. It's telling you you're doing something wrong from the root cause. Because your energies are the effect. You're feeling the effect of something you've caused. The law of cause and effect. Nothing escapes it. Now, the Jehovah's Witness believe that exactly 144,000 faithful Christians go to heaven or be resurrected, right? This is not true. This is symbolic. 144,000 go to heaven. Now, the petals on the chakras, this is the root chakra, this is the crown chakra. Now, if you add up the first 5 chakras, the petals, add up the petals on the first 5 chakras, you get 48. And then you get to the third eye, which has 2 petals. 48 times 2 equals 96. 96 plus 48, which you got from here, equals 144. The last chakra has 1,000 petals. Times 144 times 1,000, you get 144,000. This is a frequency. This frequency is the frequency of the ascension up your chakras. This frequency is a high frequency which turns that oil into gas, which rises up the spine, activating your third eye. Right? So this is all the religions are all symbolic for this sacred secret of Christ consciousness. As it says in the Bible, the kingdom of God is within. It's not out there, people. You must look within yourself. You are God. You are a spark of his consciousness, infinite consciousness, right? So 144,000 is a frequency, and you must achieve this. Like I said, these people in the past, they're not gods, people. These were just humans. Nothing special. They just reach Christ consciousness. Now, they keep you in these lower vibrational states with the food, right? And as you can see here, all of these fast food restaurants are mainly are red and yellow, which are these lower states, these lower 2 chakras, lower vibrational colors, because they want you trapped down here in matter. And these foods are so low vibrational, they will keep you down here, because your gut produces, I think it's like 80% of melatonin. Melatonin is your feel-good hormone. These foods will not make you feel good. This is very low vibrational. Meat. It's not meat, it's raw flesh. These animals are stripped from their family, put on a conveyor belt, watch their friends be tortured, and then get slaughtered in a slaughterhouse. Think of all the fear that's running through their blood, all the hormones, all the fear, and you're going to go and eat that very low vibrational energy. As you can see here, this is the light photons within fruit. You can see the life force in this fruit. You must think, feel, and do positive to raise your vibration. As you can see, earth equals heart. If you rearrange it, everything in nature is green, right? The aurora borealis is green. You must align all these chakras and then live from the heart, because the heart's the center of the Taurus field. You must become the consciousness in the center. So that's it for this video, people. Thank you all. God bless.
Welcome people, we're back with another video. I will now be keeping track of my YouTube and trying to upload every week. In this video, we'll be talking about the chakras. The chakras are the 7 attributes of God, and they are the 7 planets. These are literally vortex portals within us that connect us to these vices and characteristics of God. Each one of these energy centers are a spinning wheel of energy which controls the cells and organs in that particular area of the body. For example, it's literally a mini brain for that area of the body. Each chakra has a vice which you need to turn to a virtue in order to climb up through the system. They work like a stairway system. You have to go through each chakra in order to unlock the one above. This process is turning matter into spirit as you descended from spirit to matter. Saturn is Satan, that's why it's the lowest chakra, and that's why the devil is red, because red is the lowest vibrational color. When you are in these lower states of consciousness, you are in your animal nature. This is your physical side of your nature, and you are mainly being driven by your animal instincts or your ego. Moving back to your higher self or your spirit self is not an easy process. It takes a while. However, with discipline, consistency, and motivation, you can achieve this, and this is what the ancients called Christ consciousness. Once you have achieved this, it is basically a state of mastery of the mind. You no longer lust for the lower animal nature things. Now, let's start with the root chakra. This is located at the base of your spine, and you can feel this chakra by tensing your anus. This energy center is in control of your survival needs, your vitality, your stability, and security. Now, if this chakra is unbalanced, you will feel insecure, fear, anxiety, unstable, low self-esteem, anemia, over or underweight, and constipation. In order to balance this chakra, you need to feel grounded, embodied, stable, calm, centered, a sense of safety, and trust in yourself and the world around you. The next chakra is the sacral chakra, which is located around the belly button area. You can feel this chakra just by sucking in your belly. This chakra is to do with relationships, self-worth, creativity, empathy, and most importantly, sexuality. This is the most important one in order to start to raise your vibration overall, is giving up the over-sexualized nature. In order to balance this chakra, you need to come into harmony with all the toxic relationships that you have. Get rid of the fear, the anxiety, the isolation, and 100% get rid of the over-sexualized nature. Lust is one of the most lowest vibrations you could possibly feel. It is literally manifesting hell. In order to work on this chakra, you need to feel self-worth. You need to do creative things, empathy, healthy relationships, and 100% being confident. The next chakra is the solar plexus. This is to do with personal power, will, metabolism, eating, happiness, and your self-esteem and self-identification. You can feel this chakra just above your belly, below your ribs, and you can suck in this area. If this chakra is blocked, you will feel lack of confidence, difficulty in manifesting your desires, low self-esteem, misuse of power, misuse of dominance, weak will, and shame in yourself. Biggest one for this chakra is overeating, as it's to do with metabolism. If you are overeating, you are literally unbalancing a lot of your lower chakras, not just the solar plexus. In order to work on this chakra and balance it, you want to have a positive self-identification. You want to feel happy, a happy self-esteem, effectiveness to people, not overeating, and a strong willpower. Now for the heart chakra, one of the most important chakras. Chakra is to do with love, understanding, trust, hope, openness, compassion, balance, and forgiveness. The most important because your heart is the tree of life in the body. It is the center of the toroidal field. It is the most powerful chakra. Your heart is 5,000 times stronger magnetically than your brain. Once you have hit the heart chakra and you start surpassing the heart chakra, you are now turning matter into spirit, as the lower 3 chakras are dense and physical, and that above the heart chakra are turning to spirit. As you can see already, this is a hard and long process of working on yourself physically and internally. The symptoms of a blocked heart chakra would be lack of love or too much love, difficulty to accepting or giving love, lack of compassion, loneliness, and lack of emotional fulfillment. Finally, a lack of connection with a divine or to nature. In order to balance this chakra, the most important thing and the most powerful thing you can do is loving people, accepting and giving lots of love. Second most important thing to balance the heart chakra is balance. You need a balanced life. You need balance in all aspects of your life. Now for the throat chakra. This is a very important chakra as it's to do with communication. A symptom of this being unbalanced is a lack of self-expression and putting on a front all the time, acting with the ego. In order to balance this chakra, you need to constantly self-express yourself. You can't be putting on a front. That voice inside your head, you have to let it come outward. Don't just block it off with a wall. Self-expression will lead to you gaining friends who actually like you for being you and not these fake friends that you have to put on an ego for. In order to balance this chakra, you need to express yourself, express the word that's within you. Don't be lying to people, don't deceive or be deceptive. The next chakra is the third eye chakra. This is starting to get very advanced and you are coming very close to spirit. Just before we head on, I want to announce the PDF is now available, containing all the presentations I've ever made, all into a condensed 38-page PDF. The link will be below this video for you to access. And if you want to learn how to create reality using your mind, how to attract your desires, how to get out of the situation you are in, the link will also be there for the Manifestation Mastery course. Now for the third eye chakra. The third eye chakra controls the pineal gland, which is your first eye. It's to do with your psychic abilities, channeling, telepathy, astral travel, visions, and connection to the higher self. You need all of the chakras aligned to get the full potential out of your third eye or pineal gland chakra. For example, if you're astral traveling and you fear something, you will be instantly shot back to your body. So you need to master all of the chakras before you go on and try and do these higher spiritual activities. Symptoms of the third eye chakra being blocked is lack of imagination, lack of vision, lack of concentration, blocked or clouded intuition, can't see the big picture, and especially overly reliant on logic and intellectual thinking. A good way to work on this chakra is imagining things, vision things, trust your intuition at all times, always follow that inner voice. Cut out the tap water which contains fluoride. Fluoride blocks the pineal gland. And cut out all junk food because all of this is affecting your pineal gland. When in meditation, you want to focus your eyes and your attention to the center of your head between the two eyebrows. This is where the pineal gland is located. This will help and awaken the pineal gland over time when you keep doing these meditations. Finally, for the crown chakra, this is to do with universal consciousness, all-knowing, enlightenment, cosmic connections, the God source. This chakra is blocked by being cut off from spirituality, plagued by the senses, being tricked into the five senses and being tricked into thinking you are the body. In order to work on this chakra, you need to feel grounded. You need to know yourself, your real self, the voice within you. Have common sense, have specific decisions that you're making, be very direct. Now we've got out of the way all of the chakras, I can now introduce methods and meditations which will help you unblock them spiritually. When meditating, you want to get into the present moment in a nice, comfortable position. Bring yourself to the present moment by saying, I am here right now, nothing else matters. Keep repeating this over and over with your eyes open or closed. After a couple minutes of bringing your attention to the present moment, you can now start to breathe in through the nose deeply and breathe out through the mouth slower than you breathed in. Place your attention on the chakra that you want to balance. Think of a high vibrational emotion like love, and think of this while placing your attention on that chakra. You can do this exercise every day for 10 to 20 to 30 minutes. The longer the better. Another practice you can do is by chanting the Bijis for each chakra. They are here starting from the root chakra all the way to the crown chakra. Or you can chant the 7 vowels. There are not 5, there are actually 7. A, I, A, O, U, M. A, This is the proper way of pronouncing the 7 vowels. These are so powerful because these are the only things that exist. It is literally the sound of God. By pronouncing them right, you can actually create a lot of power within you and align your chakras. That's it for this video, people. I'd appreciate a comment and a like to help the algorithm. I appreciate you all. Love and light.
How are we all doing, people? It's Revival of Wisdom from the Wisdom Academy. Today we're going to be breaking down God, consciousness, and the higher and the lower self, and how to overcome the lower self. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that you are the invisible intelligence within the brain, within the body. This invisible intelligence is known as the mind. But you are not the mind. You are the observer of the mind, which is the soul, the invisible entity. The mind is your intellect, your intelligence. Now, the mind is, it's hard to put this in words, but the mind is something that gives you the ability to explore the universe. And this inner self is the I am. It's the quiet, the inner self, the voice you see in you hear in your head. This is why within spells high twin, inside, internal. The I is also the number 1, which is one line. Because the one and only, is the inner self, which is the I am. This is why you say, my name is Harry. You are not Harry, you are the I, the inner self, the intelligence. Okay, this is why Jesus in French is I am. You look with the 2 eyes and you see with the inner eye. I and I, the same thing. Okay, because the I inside is what gives you the perception of what you're looking at. So when someone's trying to explain something and then you catch on saying, I see now, it's because you're seeing with your inner eye, the one that gives you perception, gives you intelligence, gives you the ability to understand things. This is the internal I, the invisible self, which the physical body is nowhere near as complicated as this inner self. Is in infinite potential. God, G-O-D, generator, operator, destroyer, soul, mind, and body. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son. They're all, the reason why you see God is always a triad is because it represents yourself. Your invisible intelligence is God. Me and you are the same invisible intelligence. We are the invisible intelligence experiencing the program being run by the central nervous system and the brain. I always say this in my videos, but I have to, in order for you,
for you to understand the things that I'm going to say later on in the video, you need to understand this concept, is that you are the consciousness experiencing the nervous system, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is you here. You would be in this invisible intelligence right here in the center of the brain. Now, this is why the ancient Christians show God is in the brain. This is the brain stem. This is the brain. This is also the brain stem and the brain. The brain stem and the brain. It's all depictions of the brain, because the brain's the computer, the electromagnetic computer, which decodes the demands created by the invisible intelligence, the I, the inner self, you, your true self. The person if you observe what someone moving, this is going to sound, but if you observe someone walking, it's not the body. The body is moving, but the thing telling it to move is the invisible intelligence. Before you kick a football, a decision is made within your invisible intelligence, your mind. And this consciousness, this invisible intelligence, is either stuck between the lower self and the higher self. Okay? When the invisible intelligence, meaning the true self, identifies itself with the physical body, it will trap its mind within physicality. This consciousness that we have is either operating in the lower self or the higher self. It's either feeding the material body or it's feeding the spirit. Okay? But because we are physical and spiritual, we need to be even. We don't want to be meditating all day long, because we do have a physical body as well whilst we are here. We are playing a game in physical matter. Okay? Now, the reason that you incarnated here is to learn a lesson, because the mind can manifest anything it wants within the astral planes, within the world of imagination. It can manifest anything it likes, but it incarnates into matter, into this game, so we can understand labor, because anything in matter, you have to labor to manifest. But in the astral, you can manifest at the click of a finger. You come here to learn the knowledge of good and evil. And your consciousness, I came out a bit off topic there, but your consciousness is experiencing the lower or higher self. The lower self is manifested in the lower parts of the body. Sex, food, and power, the lower three energy centers. These centers are like mini brains. You are literally thinking with these centers. And when your mind is stuck within these lower centers, you'll think, have you ever heard the term of thinking with your penis, or thinking with your, as a man? Even females maybe, but mainly this is a boy saying, you're thinking with your penis. This is a truth. It's truth in plain sight. You think with these energy centers. When you're living off the lower three centers, all you care about is sex, food, and power. Eating, sleeping, and greed. Power's kind of like greed. Now, when we move up to the higher parts of the body, when we live our life within the higher parts of the body, this is considered heaven. Love, expression, intuition, and wisdom. This is what we need to be aiming to do, moving out of the lower half of the body and living our life within the higher self, the higher parts of the body, thinking with the higher energy centers, thinking with love, expression, intuition, and wisdom, spreading love, expression, intuition, and wisdom to others. Heaven is even. This is why Jesus is pointing at the heart chakra, always pointing at the heart. Earth rearranged his heart, because in earth you're manifested as a physical being. You're in the heart, good and bad. You need to be balanced between the good and bad. Because love can be a demon too. That's a whole nother video, but love can be a demon. Now, the seven chakras are known as the seven seals in the Bible. When the Lamb opened the seventh seal, there was silence in the heaven for about half an hour. This is a verse from the Bible. The Lamb is Aries, which is the higher brain. the cerebrum, the cerebram, ram, Aries. Because when the ram opens the 7 seals, you enter the kingdom of heaven. Because these chakras seal your invisible intelligence. They seal your true self. You are behind these 7 seals, your true invisible self, your true consciousness. Because behind these 7 seals, you do not think about anything materialistic. Your intelligence is not material. It's not physical. It's not from the physical world. It does not desire the physical world. The body is the beast. The body's the animal, the lower self, which can corrupt our intelligence. It can corrupt the intelligence. Okay? Now, we need to balance these chakras so that we gain a deeper connection between this intelligence and the brain. Because when there's a strong connection between the brain and the intelligence, your body and the intelligence, you have a strong connection. Therefore, you can manifest what the intelligence is saying at all times. Meaning, when, for example, your higher self, this is intelligence, the higher intelligence is always speaking to you. It's always guiding you. It's always telling you the right thing to do. You can feel it when you're doing something wrong. You can feel that you're doing something wrong, because this higher self, this intelligence knows what it needs to do here. And when there's no connection between the body and this our intelligence, our true self, when we strip away, when you close your eyes for long periods of time, you will figure out you are this invisible, infinite, creative being. There's no words that I can't describe what it is, but it's the voice inside of your head that you can feel when you close your eyes. You are this being inside of the head, heaven, because this is heaven, this intelligence. And when there's a strong connection between the body, you can manifest everything it's saying. When everything is balanced, when you're no longer thinking with the lower centers, when they're all balanced, you're not thinking in particular with every center, you balance them all, you can manifest everything it says. Your body will act out what the intelligence is always saying. This is God in the brain, the intelligence, trying to touch Adam, representing the lower self. This is why they're not touching. Notice how Adam is resting, but the intelligence is always reaching out, stretching, symbolizing metaphorically saying it's guiding. I'm always reaching out. The intelligence, your intelligence is always guiding you. It's always reaching out to you. But Adam is ignorant of it. The lower self is ignorant of it. And that's why he's so relaxed and God is so stretching out. Because at our highest self, that when you think of when you want to better your life, that highest true version of yourself is God. When you're manifesting this, your highest self, this is God. Your truest form, your most perfect form, that is God. Your highest version of yourself, that is God. Emotions are not what you've been taught. Emotions are not something that should be reactive, okay? You should not let the emotion be you, except that you should experience them instead of letting them become you. You need to understand there's a separation in our consciousness. You have the soul, which is the person who is observing your thoughts. When you think a thought, who's the one observing that thought? The soul, you, the I am, the I, the inner self, the one and only. And inside of every single body, inside of me, inside of you watching this video, there is this
same intelligence that is inside of me, inside of you, and it's the exact same intelligence, experiencing a different body. And this is what we mean by the universe is mental. We are all sharing the same ball of consciousness in a different body. The animals, the fish, the cells, all expressing this one consciousness. Me and you are the same. This is why the golden rule is treat others like others should be treated, because I am you and you are me in a different body. Now, going back, you need to identify that there's different levels of consciousness: soul, mind, emotion, and body. Okay? Your emotions are on a separate layer than the body, the mind, and the soul. So when you identify there's a difference between all of these, you do not let them become you. You do not let your mind rule you, because your mind can be corrupted. Your soul is the one that is pure good, pure love, but your mind can be corrupted. Okay? Your emotions can be corrupted. The body can be corrupted, but the soul can never be corrupted, only layered on top. You can only throw piles of programs within the subconscious, layering the soul down, but deep down inside of it, every single one of you, there is a loving being. Because the love comes from the heart. Love is the universal emotion, expression. Now, your thoughts can become bondage, your emotions can become bondage. Now, what do I mean by bondage? By conquering the lower self, we need to conquer our own mind, because the mind is what's manifesting the lower self. When you're thinking with the lower half of the body, when you're becoming your emotions, you need to experience the emotion, not become the emotion. Do not let the emotion become you. Do not let your thoughts become you, because your thoughts are tools that you can manifest. Your thoughts are the idea. Your emotion is the energy that you can use to manifest that thought. Your emotion is energy in motion, emotion. You use emotion to manifest, to feel as if you already have the thought. Therefore, you become that vibration. Therefore, your emotions are actually a creational force that is given to you to manifest things, because you're a human, a manifester. You're here to manifest things. You're a creator. You are a god. Your inner self, your intelligence, your I am, the one and only inside of you, the inner self, the quiet one, the one that's deep down, the invisible intelligence, is it's creating things all the time. All the time. Speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. This is the astronauts, they're Freemasons, but they understand this, because thinking, seeing, and hearing can corrupt your mind. And when you have a corrupted mind, you'll have a corrupted subconscious. The subconscious will manifest into the body, because 90% of your behavior comes from the subconscious mind. So you got to speak, see, and hear no evil. A sin, what is a sin? To overcome our lower self, to overcome our lower self, the 7 deadly sins are not something that goes against an external God. A sin is something that goes against your inner guide, your inner conscience, the inner self that is always speaking to you. It's always telling you the right thing to do. A sin is something that goes against this inner guide. And this is why you can feel something where you can feel you're doing something wrong, because the inner guide is speaking constantly. And when you commit these 7 deadly sins, which are 7 internal states which keep your invisible intelligence bound to your physical body,
Because evil, right? Evil love bondage. This is why they stay in this realm and they control this realm, because they love the bondage of the body. They like matter. They want to stay in matter for eternal life. They don't want to ascend back into the heavenly realms where you do not have a physical body. You can explore the universe within the astral planes. They stay bounded to the body, bounded to the 3D construct of the physical world. They have greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, sloth, pride. They want all of this. And if you want that, that's okay. But deep, deep down, you don't want that, because your soul is always telling you the right thing to do. Your soul knows what to do to get out of here. It needs to detach from the external world. Detach from all of these 7 internal states which bound you to your lower self, your lower centers. That's what a sin is. You have a left and right brain. The left brain is always analytic. The right brain is metaphorical. So the right brain is producing a holistic view of reality. Now, what do I mean? And not view, perception. When you see, because your eyes are parts of the brain, when you look at something and you look, that image is produced in the back of the brain in the visual cortex. And then the right brain produces a perception, a holistic, it breaks down what you're seeing into a holistic image, a holistic perception. So, for example, if you're in a woods, the right brain sees the whole woods as one big woods. The left brain is breaking that perception down into individual trees, branches, and leaves. So the left brain's to do with duality. The right brain's to do with wholeness, unified. The left brain's dualistic, analytic. This is necessary so that we can pick things up and manipulate them and break things down. We need the left brain. We need the right brain. I'm not saying any of them's bad, but the left brain, sinister in Latin, means left. Because when you're left-brained, you see everything in dualistic. You see everything is dual, when everything's actually one. We need to be focusing and strengthening our right hemisphere. I'm not saying sit in the right hemisphere all the time, but we need to be strengthening our right hemisphere. And this is why left is sin and right is right. Because when you focus on the right hemisphere, you see the holistic perception of creation. The right hemisphere sees humanity as one unified consciousness. The left hemisphere sees everyone as individual persons and egos. Because the left hemisphere is dualistic. And this is why the Bible says, cast the net onto the right side of the ship and ye shall find. John 21:6. What does that mean? Cast your energy, cast your perception into the right hemisphere of the brain, and ye shall find unified consciousness. You shall find your higher self, the one and only. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Wow. Powerful. What does this mean? Seek the things that are above, where the Christ is seated at the right hand of God. God is your consciousness, your invisible intelligence between the 2 hemispheres. The right hand of God is the right hemisphere. Seek the things that are above the heart. Love, intuition, expression, and wisdom. Seek the things that are above the heart, the higher self, the higher part of the body. Because when you seek the things of love, expression, intuition, and wisdom, you create a strong aura. You attract the same frequency. And this frequency is heaven, God. This is the Sumerian artwork showing the lamb. This is a step, symbolizing stepping upwards, raising up. He's stepping over the lamb up to the bird. His hand is going to the bird. The lamb symbolizes the lower self. Okay? The bird with the wings is in the sky. It represents the higher self. This is why angels always have wings, because it represents the higher self in the sky. The lamb is a ground animal, symbolizing the lower self. He's stepping over the lamb to the bird, his higher self, his invisible intelligence. Horus and Set, Jesus and Satan. Look, Horus has an evil brother, Set, just like Jesus and Satan. Horus is a bird, higher self. Set is a ground animal, lower self, which is the devil and the angel on your shoulder. You see? The right and the left hemisphere. The two wings. So, the devil and angels always speaking to you. The higher and the lower self. It's the battle between the higher and the lower self. Between the invisible intelligence and the physical body, because the body's the one that wants the sugar, it wants the pleasure, it wants the sex, it wants the porn, it wants all of the materialistic things, it wants the 7 deadly things. Okay, it wants this. There's a battle between the higher and the lower self, your intelligence and the body. This is why you need to become balanced, so that there's a deep connection between the body and the invisible intelligence, the I am. You need to master your mind with discipline, and you gain a connection between the brain, the body and the intelligence. Resurrection, transmuting sexual energy. Okay, this is important. Res is Resh, which is Hebrew. The early Hebrew Resh symbol is the head. This is the head. Resh, erection. Erection is a sexual stimulation. Resurrection is rise erection. You got to raise your sexual energy up the base from the spine to the head. This is the Christ, the Christos. There's a psychophysical germ, psychophysical oil produced in the brain every month. Go and watch my other video on raising the chrism. Okay? And every month there's this fluid produced in the brain, which takes 2 trips, because one's produced by the pituitary, one's produced by the pineal, magnetic female, magnetic and electric charge. And it takes 2 trips down the spine to the solar plexus, the bread of life in the Bible, or Bethlehem in the Bible, because the River Jordan's your spine. It goes down to Bethlehem. It gets born in Bethlehem, just like Jesus. Because when this oil travels to the solar plexus, it creates the seed, the seed of life, and it feeds the body. All the central nervous system, all the cells, it regulates the blood, does all sorts of good things for the body, this oil. Now, when you save your sexual energy and you raise your resurrection, you awake the Christ, you raise it from the solar plexus or the sacrum bone up to the brain, you activate 100% of the brain, and this is the true resurrection of Christ. Instead of wasting the energy and giving away your sexual fluids, because behind the fluids is the energy. So when you release that fluid, the energy is out there. You've released the energy. Your sexual energy is the most potent emotional force a human could possibly feel. Same with any animal or anything. The sexual urge, the sexual emotion is the most powerful, potent emotion that you can feel. It takes over the whole body. When you feel sexually aroused, it takes over everything because it's so potent. And when you fight the serpent, when you fight the sexual energy, which is shown here in the Egyptians, the cat cutting off the head of the serpent, or Hercules fighting the serpent,
Or in the Greek mythology, fighting the seven-headed dragon, the seven chakras. The serpent is your sexual energy because it symbolizes your kundalini. When you fight it and you transmute this energy, instead of releasing it, instead of acting sexually on it, you can transmute the energy, transfer it from the solar plexus up to the brain. You can also do this with other tasks. Instead of releasing it, instead of raising it from the solar plexus to the brain, you can use it for other things. So, for example, you want to think critically. You can use it for critical thinking. You can use it for going to do exercise. You can transmute sexual energy into anything. But you can do this. You can raise the sexual energy, and you can use this energy to push the cerebrospinal fluid from the solar plexus up through the spine, up the 33 vertebrae to the brain, and it'll activate 100% of the brain. And this is the resurrection of Christ. Jesus was never dead. Jesus was never rose from the dead. It symbolizes the Christ, Jesus Christ. Christ is Christos, which means oil in Greek. The resurrection of the Christ, the Christos, the oil. When it activates 100% of the brain when it's raised, and it can regulate all the systems, it can regulate all the blood, it can regenerate the body. And this is the true Antichrist. They don't want us doing this process. The Antichrist is not against Jesus. It's against the fluid in our body that makes us live hundreds and hundreds of years and makes us live as gods. This is the true resurrection. And when you fight the serpent, you fight your sexual urges, your sexual emotion, the most strong emotion that you could ever feel. You can do this process. And this is the true secret of transmuting sexual energy. Because when you transmute the sexual energy, you can become a god. And this is why Hercules is fighting the serpent. Notice how the serpent is low. He's reaching down to it. It represents the lower self. Because the lower self wants the lust. It desires sex. The body desires sex. There's a fight between the higher and the lower self. But when there's balance, there's even. Heaven is even. When there's evenness between these, this is the kingdom of heaven. This is when heaven is on earth. So at our highest levels of ourselves, the highest level of our intelligence, this is God.